So good morning, all of you. Is the screen visible to you?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So just we will wait 1-2 minutes and then we will start. So good morning, all of you. Now it's time to start our lecture. So in last lecture, we have discussed regarding with the process of formation of the sedimentary rock, how the sedimentary rocks are formed. That we have discussed in detail. In that we have studied the origin for the formation of sedimentary rock is sediment. That is the rock particles which are present in the rivers or which are present in the on the beach or in the desert. That small or large particles of the rocks are considered as a sediment, and that sediments undergo various processes like weathering, erosion, then sedimentation and lithification and diagenesis. And by these three processes, that loose sediments are converted into hard and compact rock. Okay, so by this process, the sedimentary rocks are formed. It involves three main processes. By these three processes, that loose sediments are converted into hard and compact rock that we have discussed. Okay, in that we have seen all these points. Okay, now today we are going to discuss the important content of this topic, that is the types of the sediments. Okay. Sediments. Now we know the meaning of that this word. I have already discussed with you what is the meaning of the sediments. Now, there are different types of the sediments. Mainly three types are there. First one is the clastic or detrital. Second one is the organic sediments, and third one is the inorganic chemical sediments. Okay, clastic or detrital, organic, and inorganic chemical sediments. Now we will discuss the meaning of each type of the sediments in detail now. Now first we will discuss regarding with the clastic sediments or detrital sediments. Okay. Now deposited grains of rocks and minerals derived intact from source transported by gravity, water, wind, and ice. Okay. So this is the meaning of clastic or detrital sediments. Now the particles which are formed from rocks and minerals, the particles which are formed from rocks and minerals and which are transported with the help of its own gravity, water, wind, and ice, all that sediments are considered as a clastic or detrital sediments. Okay, means the sediments, sand particles which are present in the river in our area, that sand particles we can consider as a clastic or detrital sediments. Okay, have you understand? म्हणजे प्लास्टिक किंवा डेट्रिटल सेडिमेंट्स म्हणजे काय की रॉकचं वेदरिंग इरोजन होऊन किंवा मिनरलचं वेदरिंग इरोजन होऊन त्याचे जे छोटे पार्टिकल्स तयार होतात आणि जे ट्रान्सपोर्ट केले जातात कशाबरोबर त्याच्या स्वतःच्या ग्रॅव्हिटीमुळं. आता त्याच्या स्वतःच्या ग्रॅव्हिटीमुळे ते कधी ट्रान्सपोर्ट होतील म्हणजे स्लोप वरून, म्हणजे हिल्स किंवा माउंटन्स वरती जो स्लोप असतो त्या स्लोप वरून जे खाली येतात त्यांच्या ओन ग्रॅव्हिटीमुळे, किंवा वॉटर बरोबर त्याचं ट्रान्सपोर्टेशन होतं, विंड बरोबर ट्रान्सपोर्टेशन होतं, किंवा आईस वॉटर बरोबर त्याचं ट्रान्सपोर्टेशन होतं. हे जे सगळे रॉक पार्टिकल्स असतील, रॉक्स पासून तयार झालेले जे सेडिमेंट्स असतात, all that sediments are considered as a clastic or detrital sediments. Okay, now second type of the sediments, organic sediments. Organic. Now what is the meaning of organic that we have discussed? Organic means there are various meanings of the organic. The first meaning is that which contains carbon in it. Okay, which contains carbon in its chemical composition, or which are formed from organisms. All that materials we can consider as a organic material. Means those material having carbon in its chemical composition, that material we can consider as a organic material. Or those materials having the source organisms. Organisms means it includes plants or animals. Okay, म्हणजे ऑर्गॅनिक मटेरियल्स, ऑर्गॅनिक सेडिमेंट्स म्हणजे काय की त्याच्यामध्ये त्याचं केमिकल कंपोजिशन मध्ये कार्बन प्रेझेंट पाहिजे, किंवा त्यांचा जो सोर्स आहे तो काय पाहिजे, ऑर्गॅनिझम्स पाहिजेत, म्हणजे प्लांट्स किंवा अॅनिमल्स पासून ते तयार झालेले मटेरियल असलं पाहिजे, त्याला आपण ऑर्गॅनिक सेडिमेंट्स म्हणतो. नाव शेल्स. नाव व्हॉट इज द मिनिंग ऑफ शेल्स? SHELLS. Can anybody told me what is the meaning of here shells?
Simply.
Yes, exactly correct. When you took the sand particles of the river or the beach sand, you got different types of the shells. म्हणजे तुम्ही रिव्हर मधली सँड घेतली किंवा बीच वरची जर सँड बघितलेली असेल तर त्या सँड मध्ये फक्त रॉक पार्टिकल्स नसतात, त्याच्यामध्ये वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे शंख शिंपले तुम्हाला बघायला मिळतात. ओके, so that sand particles are also considered, that shell particles are also considered as a sediments, and they are the category of the organic because that shells are external body part of the aquatic animals. Now along with the full cover of the shell, some small broken shell fragments, that is shell particles, are also there. They are considered as a organic sediments also. Some bones are remaining. You know that in the rivers or in the sea water, aquatic animals are there, like fish or other aquatic animals. When they die, the bone particles are remains in that water, and in that sand we find different types of the bones. Coral reefs, कोरल रिफ्स, रिफ्स मीन्स कोरल रिफ्स, प्रवाळ आपण ज्याला म्हणतो मराठीमध्ये. ओके, वेन यू सी डीप सीज, you got the some porous and colorful varieties of the coral reefs. So all that are considered as a organic materials, and they are mainly formed from the organism, that is plants and animals. Now these organic sediments may be transported, or they are in situ. Means in situ means they are remaining in its original place. They can't transport from one place to another place. So two types of the varieties are there. Some sediments, organic sediments are transported, and some are not transported. They are considered as a in situ sediments. And the third type of the sediments are considered as a inorganic chemical sediments. Okay. Now inorganic chemical sediments. Now can anybody tell me what is the meaning of this? Inorganic, opposite to organic. Okay. Inorganic chemical means those contain those do not contain carbon in its chemical composition, or they are formed from the chemical precipitation. Okay, precipitation means evaporation, and the remaining material is we can consider as a precipitate. Now salt is the best example of the this category. We know the process of formation of the salt. The seawater is stored in various deep excavated places. After evaporation, water is evaporated. The salt material remains at that place. Same process going on many sediment rocks that we have discussed in the process of formation of sediment rock. After evaporation, only water particles are evaporated, and the dissolved particles are remains in the form of precipitate. So limestone, gypsum, rock salt are the examples of the inorganic chemical sediments, and they are formed from the these evaporation and precipitation processes. Okay, so these are the main three types of the sediments. That is, first one is the clastic. Only remember that rock and mineral particles, they are considered as a clastic. Organic means those contain carbon, or source of that sediments are organisms, that is plants and animals. Example, shells. Inorganic chemical means they do not contain carbon in its chemical composition, and mainly they are formed from evaporation and precipitation process. Best example, salt, gypsum, and limestone. Okay. Now, next we are going to discuss, that is the classification of sedimentary rock, secondary rock, or sediment rock, and this classification is very important. Okay, in the exam, the question is generally asked on this point, that is the classification of sedimentary rock. Now, in the igneous type of the rock, we have discussed the classification of sedimentary rock. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so now we will start the classification of sedimentary rock. Now, for the classification of sedimentary rock, first point which is very important, that is the products of weathering. Okay, This point is very important. Products of weathering. Now, what will be the products of weathering? Can anybody told me here? What will be the product of weathering?
Rocks, pebbles, stone.
Yes, rock, pebble, stone. There is one specific word for that we have discussed before 1 2 minutes ago. Hello, students. I have one call from our teachers. So just wait for here 5 minutes. I will be come back within 5 minutes. Okay. So just wait for here 5 minutes. Now, may I audible now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry for disturbance. Uh, Now we are talking about the products of weathering. Okay. Now what will be the product of weathering? There is one specific word that we have discussed before some time ago.
Detrial.
Detrial. No. Products of weathering. There is only one word.
Erosion.
No.
Rocks and stones, sir.
Sediments. Okay. Sediments are the products of weathering. Okay. Now, these sediments are of two types. The sediments which are present in the secondary rocks, they are of two types. One is the transported and second one is the non-transported. Means some products of weathering are non-transported and some are transported. Now non-transported, first we will discuss about the non-transported category. Non-transported. Okay, means there are some secondary rocks which are formed from its original rock in its original place. They are not transported. Means mainly such a type of the sedimentary rocks are of chemical type of weathering. Chemical weathering means they do not undergo transportation. They remain in its original place. Best example, it is also considered as a residual type of the rock. Residual, non-transported is also considered as a residual. Residual means residue. Residue हा word तुम्ही ऐकलेला असेल. What is meaning of residue? Where you have heard this word? In the practical of the chemistry in 11th or 12th, 11वी किंवा 12वी मध्ये किंवा फर्स्ट 11वी किंवा 12वी मध्ये तुम्ही किंवा तुमच्या डीएससी मध्ये सुद्धा तुम्ही स्टडी केलेला असेल. केमिस्ट्री मध्ये केमिकलचे प्रॅक्टिकल करत असताना टेस्ट ट्यूब मध्ये खाली जो शिल्लक राहिलेला पार्ट असतो त्याला काय म्हटलं जातं? रेसिड्यू म्हटलं जातं. ओके, त्यामुळे तो वर्ड या ठिकाणी यूज केलेला आहे. रेसिड्युअल म्हणजे शिल्लक राहिलेला पार्ट. मराठीमध्ये त्याचं काय मिनिंग होतं? रेसिड्युअल मीन्स शिल्लक राहिलेला. आफ्टर वेदरिंग the remaining part of the rock is considered as a residual part and they are considered as a generally non-transported type of the rock. Okay, now here the example of the residual type of the rock or non-transported type of the rocks are various examples. Two main examples are there: laterite and bauxite. Laterite and bauxite. These are the two examples of the non-transported type of the category. Laterite and bauxite. Now, laterite means in the Konkan region, this rock is used in huge quantity because in Konkan area that rock is easily available. In Marathi, it is considered as a chira or zamba kadak. Okay, चिरा किंवा जांभा कलर, रेडिश ब्राउनिश कलरचे ज्या मोठ्या ब्रिक्स असतात त्याला आपण लॅटराइट म्हणतो. दॅट इज द एक्झाम्पल ऑफ द नॉन ट्रान्सपोर्टेड टाइप ऑफ द सेकंडरी रॉक. अँड बॉक्साइट इज ऑल्सो वन टाइप ऑफ द सेकंडरी रॉक and generally it is used as a source for the aluminum metal. Okay, from the bauxite the aluminum is extracted and it is economically very important mineral. After export we can get maximum amount from that bauxite. Now Next one is the non-transported that we have discussed. Now we are going to discuss about the transported type of the rock. Okay, transported.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Mm, is my sound audible to you?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
May I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Hello. May I audible?
Yes,
I
sir.
can hear your voice, and due to electricity failure, I have been disconnected from my laptop. Okay. So I think this screen is not visible to you now. Can you hear me? I can't get
Yes,
your
sir.
voice. Mm, it is not audible to me also here. So so you all can left now after the electricity problem resolve. I will put one message regarding with the joining of the meeting. After that, you can join. Okay. Now you can leave now because I can't hear your voice also, and I can't share my screen also. Okay. So you can left. I after my message, you immediately join.